15 years after the abomination that was the Spaghetti Incident, one of the most anticipated albums in music's history was released, and this album holds the record for being the most expensive album ever made, and it became a joke a bit like Duke Nukem Forever about how it's never going to be released. Though against all odds, on the 23rd of November 2008, the world, except China, as it actually is banned there, was introduced to Chinese democracy. Guns N' Roses' 6th studio album. And I mean, you can hardly call the band Guns N' Roses, though, you know, as Axl is the only original member in the band, and the only sort of remotely creditable member is, you know, Dizzy Weird, who appeared on the Use Your Illusion albums as on keyboards. So anyway, let's look at the lineup on this album. The lineup consists of, and this is just, you know, as this was recorded over 15 years, there's quite a few people who contributed. So Paul Tobias on guitar, Robin Fink on guitar, Buckethead on guitar, Bumblefoot on guitar, Tommy Stinson on bass, Brain on drums, Frank Ferro on drums, Dizzy Weird on keyboards, Chris Pittman on keyboards, and of course Axl Rose on vocals and keyboards. They're the main people who appeared on this album. And as you can see, there were a lot of guitarists on this album. You know, it takes a lot to replace a partnership like Slash and Izzy, but they took the biscuit with 5. And all of them, however, do appear on the title track Chinese Democracy. It's hard to tell, I mean, who's playing what on quite a few of the songs on this album. So, are Guns better without Slash, Izzy, Duff and Adler? Or should Axl be on his knees begging for them to come back? Well, let's have a look at the track listing. So, Chinese Democracy, Shecklers Revenge, Better, Street of Dreams even, If the World, There Was a Time, Catcher in the Rye, Scrapes, Weird and the Bedouins, Sorry, i.r.s, Madagascar, This I Love, and Prostitutes. There are 14 tracks on this album. So, this has been probably one of my most anticipated reviews on my channel. I've had quite a few people ask for reviews of this, so let's get into it. Chinese Democracy is the opening track of this album, and it starts out with a pretty decent riff from one of the 5 million guitarists on this album, before sort of Axl wail over the top, before his voice comes in, and surprisingly his voice does sound really good. It's true, but then the song gets to the chorus, which it isn't the worst, but the rest of the song, it's just awful though. My main problem has to be that it just doesn't sound anything like Guns N' Roses. I mean, Axl's replaced Slash and Izzy with some metal shredders which just do not belong in Guns N' Roses. If you listen especially to Slash, he has a very bluesy way of playing, quite like one of his heroes, Joe Perry of Aerosmith. And instead, on Chinese Democracy and many other songs on this album, you can hear needless shredding, which just does not suit Axl's vocals or the Guns N' Roses sound. You know, you need a solo in Guns N' Roses to sound like it was from the heart, with emotion and passion, not cold, heartless, robotic. These solos may be technically amazing, but the thing is they lack the soul and passion that Guns N' Roses always had. And those things really do annoy me about this song. It is not a good song at all. It's pretty bad, to be honest. Then we get to the second single, Shecklers Revenge, which has a pretty heavy riff in it for Guns N' Roses. Though the riff and the guitar work is bland, uninteresting, and sounds like it was made from a computer, you know, not by a human with feelings, the chorus is actually tolerable. But I mean, this is Guns N' Roses. The chorus should be more than tolerable. The song, it's, you know, awful overall. I mean, you know, it should be so much more than tolerable. You know, I should be loving it, not thinking it's tolerable. Then we get to Better. And this song starts out with an electric drum loop, which becomes a recurring theme in this album, and that just automatically turns me off. And then some nice instruments come in. Well, not nicely played, but at least they're real instruments. And again, Axl's voice is good. I do like his voice on this album. The problem with this song, though, it's the chorus. It's just awful. It's very lackluster and underwhelming. I mean, not that the verse is any good at all, but it's better. Again, and the music on this song is simply appalling. It's not Guns N' Roses. And I don't mind when a band changes its style or experiments a bit. Experimentation can sometimes be where a band thrives. But this is just taking it too far. He's turning Guns N' Roses into something they're not. And I don't like it at all. This song is not better, Axl, it's worse. Street of Dreams starts out with a lovely piano riff that sounds so similar to November Rain, it's almost like he was plagiarising himself. So you think, oh yeah, this song, it's going to be good. Then Axl comes in and you're thinking, yeah, this seems to maybe have potential. And the song, it certainly is a step up from something like Better. It is better than Better. And it has a non-shredding solo. It has piano, okay music, and a decent chorus. This song, it's actually okay. It's definitely the best song on the album. It's, you know, compared to anything on Appetite or even the Use Your Illusions, it's not that good. But it's the best song on this album, and it is actually an okay song. It's listenable. Then we get to If the World, which starts with some horrible electric sounds and drums, along with synth. It's a vomit-inducing start. And it reminds me of that weird track on the end of Use Your Illusion 2. Can't quite remember his name, but you know, the one that Axl did by himself and sort of raps with, you know, sort of like drum loops behind it and stuff. It reminds me a bit of that. And that is the worst thing they've probably ever done. But If the World, I think that may take the biscuit, because this is actually a song. And this is the worst song, I would say, in Guns N' Roses history. Everything about it just speaks utter awfulness. I mean, it's just so bad. Let's just move on to the next one. So, There Was a Time. It starts with a choir type thing before going to more electric drums. With some, you know, synth behind it. And at this point, you know, in the song, I start slitting my wrists in sadness about how the greatest band in rock could sink to such awful lows. I mean, the chorus is a step up from the verse, but that isn't exactly saying anything. It's still bad. I mean, the verse is just atrocious. The title of this song, There Was a Time, should have been extended to There Was a Time When We Were Good, but that's long gone. And sadly, you know, it has long gone, and this song proves it. It's an awful song. Catcher in the Rye, it starts out promisingly with some decent guitar and keyboards before Axl's voice comes in. And this track, it just screams mediocrity. It's not bad, like, you know, as bad as stuff like Better, but it's not good. My opinion of it, it's just meh, you know, just a mediocre song. Then Scrapped starts out some weird screaming before generic metal riff kicks in. And the song, it's bad. It has some awful guitar riffs in it, the chorus is really awful, and none of it is remotely good. It's just an atrocious piece of music. If only the song had lived up to its name and was in fact scrapped from the album. Then we get to Weird and the Bedouins, which starts out with some sort of electric static with some other horrifying electronic sounds before a real-life guitar comes in. And then I felt myself tolerating the chorus. The chorus is okay. The rest of the song is garbage overall. It's just not good. But the chorus, it's okay. Still, the chorus should be more than okay in a Guns N' Roses song. Okay, then So It starts off slowly and seems like it's going to be a ballad, which it in fact is. And I've always thought Guns N' Roses were always fantastic at some ballads, you know, stuff like November Rain, Patience, Sweet Child of Mine. But this one, it isn't. It's really bad. And as the chorus says, I'm sorry for you. It's probably apologising at the fact that anyone would buy this album. And Axl should be sorry he made the track, to be honest. And then we get to i.r.s, one of the other singles off this album. And it starts out with some guitar before, yes, the electronic drums come back. And luckily they do leave pretty quickly though. It still doesn't make a difference overall to the song, as it's not exactly the awesome single we expected from a Guns N' Roses record, for crying out loud. I was very disappointed with this song. It's terrible, but better than the previous two, I'd say. Well, I don't know, maybe better than Weird and the Bedouins? I'm not sure. Neither of them are good songs, to be honest. And then we get to Madagascar. starts out with some brass, which is interesting, before another horrible electronic drum loop comes in. And the music for this song, it's so awful, especially for the verse, that a baby screaming and crying sounds a lot nicer. The chorus musically, it's a step up from the verse, but it's still atrocious. It's a disgrace of the song, and everyone involved in the making of it should honestly be shot. And then This I Love starts out with some piano and no electric drums inside. And Axl's voice is sounding great. This song now, it's not good. It's a giant leap from Madagascar, but it's fairly bland, even if the piano melody is decent. It's just a weak ballad, it's just not good, just not very memorable. Then we get to the last track on the album, yay, which is Prostitute, and this starts out with electronic drums, yeah. Which is always a sign of crap on this album, and I wasn't wrong, this song again, it's appalling. Overall, Chinese Democracy, if I can not drop it on the floor, even though that's what it deserves, it's appalling, it's shockingly bad. I wanted to like this album. I did go through a period of liking it a couple of years ago from like my 3rd and 4th listens, but that was only because I had giant rose-tinted Guns N' Roses fanboy spectacles on. But, you know, when I took them off, I saw this album for what it really is, a disappointment. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's just a big disappointment. Guns N' Roses fans were expecting a lot from this album, you know, after the phenomenal Appetite for Destruction, after Lies, which, you know, even though not a proper studio album, you know, still had some fantastic tracks like Patience on it, and then of course the 2 Use Your Illusion albums, which, you know, are classics. We then got this, and 15 years for 14 tracks of awfulness, and the best on there is mediocre. That's not what I expect from Guns N' Roses. It's really not what I expect. I don't know what possessed Axl to do this. And, you know, I wouldn't have minded it as much if you put it under the name of Axl Rose and not Guns N' Roses, instead of tarnishing the Guns N' Roses name. But this bunch of clowns Axl hired, they just don't have the chemistry, you know, and they haven't lived the life of Guns N' Roses. The reason Guns N' Roses are my favourite band is not just because Axl has a great voice or Slash plays awesome guitar. It's because every member matters in the band. Every member contributed. Axl was just as important as Duff, and Slash was just as important as Izzy. Yes, maybe Adler and Matt Sorum didn't contribute as much, but, you know, the rhythm section between Adler and Duff was just phenomenal in Appetite, and even Izzy was a good drummer. But they've just assembled an absolute bunch of clowns with no chemistry. I mean, you know, the original lineup was without weakness, excluding drugs, of course. But these guys, they just don't have the chemistry. They haven't lived the life, and they were just haphazardly assembled together. And it just doesn't work. It honestly doesn't work. These guys, Buckethead for example, he's a talented guitarist in his own way. On this album, he's not. Same with the other guys. They're decent guitarists, but they just do not suit Guns N' Roses. And yeah. So overall, I'm going to give Chinese Democracy a 2 out of 10. I would love to give it more, but I think I'm being fairly generous. So, this has been the Album Man. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed, and as usual, long live rock and roll.